Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Kevin with survivalistboards.com. The brush guard, a weld on the brush guard broke. And as I've got another little thing to weld on it, so I figured this would be a good time to talk about some basic welding. First, my credentials. I worked 14 years in various welding shops. I've been a certified welder for over a decade in those welding shops. I've worked on everything from carbon steel up to Hastelloy, Monel, stainless, chrome, just all different types of alloys and ferrous, non-ferrous materials. I mean, just all different kinds of stuff. So, with 14 years experience and around a decade of being a certified welder, I'm going to share with y'all some basic introductory level welding. So the first thing is that whenever you're getting ready to weld something like this, and I know it's just going to break again, so let's go ahead and take some of this old weld off and get some of that old weld off of there, clean it up a little bit, maybe polish this weld here, grind that little porosity off, and maybe put a couple more beads on there. This is my little basic welding machine. It's just a Lincoln Procore 125, 120 volt, 110 volt AC. Just your basic, very charger for my cell phone. I'm gonna be streaming some music while I'm working out here. Anyway, it's just your very basic welding machine. This should have a cup on it right there that threads on right there and covers the tip, but I loaned my welding machine out and somehow mysteriously the cup came up missing. I mean, it just came up missing. I don't know what happened, but anyway, that's how I got it back. You do not need a expensive welding machine to weld. And another question that I see a lot of is, should I get flux core or MIG? All right, let's just make this real simple. Flux core or MIG. If you're welding outside, go with flux core. If you're welding inside, go with MIG. What is the difference between flux core and MIG? You look at the wire, MIG will be a copper color, flux core will be a silver color. If the flux is inside of there, flux helps keep oxygen, really hydrogen, out of the weld. It causes pinholes. Where with MIG, metallic inert gas, you use a argon 75-25 mixture, of argon and carbon dioxide to shield the weld. So, but if you're, like I said, if you're asking yourself, should I get a MIG or a flux core? The next question, the very next question, do you do most of your welding outside or inside? Because that is the wind. Do you need protection from the wind while you're welding? And so, because of that, I went with flux core. Now, I'll deal with bottles. Do you travel around? Do you move around the farm like what we're doing here? Do you need your welding machine to be portable, or is it stationary? It's a portable welding machine. I can use a generator, put the generator up here in the back of the truck, which I did a video years and years ago about. Put a generator up here, take this, I go anywhere on the farm and weld with no bottles. So that's the next question you ask yourself. All right, so safety. Long sleeve shirt, which I'm not wearing a long sleeve shirt. This is a do as I say, not as I do video. Leather gloves. Grinder. Never take the guard off the grinder. Ever. Never take the guard off the grinder, and then when all possible, leave the handle on it. Another do as I say, not as I do video. But anyway, welding helmet. This is my son's. Mine has been misplaced somewhere. Trying to find it. And face shield. Even if it's as say as I do as I do. Wear a face shield. That's all there is to it. Face shield. Not safe, not just I wear glasses, prescription glasses. Don't wear just glasses or goggles. Wear a face shield. These grinding blades, this is a tiger disc, a buffer pad. Grinder disc can fly apart, come back and hit you on the face. Heard of a guy that had to go to the emergency room because he was using a 1/8 disc to grind with. So anyway, the disc flew apart. gouged his face open. He had to go to the emergency room and get stitches. Always, always, always wear your face shield when using a grinder. Alright, so let's get this project on a roll and starting to do some work. Much as the old weld as I could get has been taken out. Used my grinder with a 1/4 inch disc. Never use a 1/8 inch disc for grinding flat. They're designed to cut as a cutting disc, not as a grinding disc. That's 1/8 disc. As if you try to grind flat with it, it will feather out or thin out and then fly apart. So never use a 1/8 disc for grinding flat like this. I used a 1/4 inch disc, got as much out. And whenever you start dealing with these broken welds, is that the metal will break off, and it's a mess. It is a real mess. I kind of polished this up a little bit. Got a little bit of porosity in there. Well, really a lot of porosity. I'm gonna run a bead over that. Then we'll come back and probably use a wire brush to buff these up. I need to take a hammer and beat these back into place. I'm gonna take a wire brush, like I said, and buff this rust off, and then put just a little spot weld to strengthen that up. This is called stacking your beads. You put one bead down, and then the edge of the next bead goes in the middle of the first bead, and then the next one will go there. Then I'll come out and run another bead, another bead, another bead, just finally stair step them up until I tie in right here. And then I'll do the same thing over here. Here we go. That crack has been closed up. And now we're going to continue. We've got, that's like 3 showing. Yeah, well, what did we do? 2 down, 3 showing. Let's see. And anyway, there's a welding talk of like 1 down or 2 down, 3 showing, 1 down, 2 showing. That's 3 beads showing. 1, 2, 3. We've brought this bead on around. See how we had 1, 2, 3 beads, and each edge of the bead goes to the middle of the one below it. It's called stacking your beads. Some people say it looks like pennies, or anyway, no, that's different. But anyway, all right, so we brought these 3 beads around, and then I brought them around here. Had a little bit of porosity back here on the end, but not too bad. And then ran that second bead, brought it around, and then ran that third bead, brought it around. Now look, you can see where the edge of the angle iron is right there. You see that weld does not have very much of a bite. So if we leave it like this, you run into a tree or a limb or something, we're just going to have the same problem. It's just going to shear off right there, right on around it, and then fix it, shear it off. So what will eventually happen is this whole piece of angle iron, will have to be replaced, or we'll have to scab on another piece of angle iron because it keeps shearing off right there and right there. So to make sure this is going to last to hold, we need to come out here and run another bead out here and bring that weld up and make sure we get a good bite or a good grab on that base metal instead of just that little bit that you see right there. Here's an example of stacking the beads while in progress. So that you've got, let's see if I can give you a little stick here because that's kind of hot. Just a second ago, or just a minute ago, we had 3 beads. 3 beads showing. 3 bead cap. Now we've got a 4 bead cap. 1, 2, 3. And then that 4th bead, notice how this has made a nice little bevel. A wale, as you would. But anyway, that last bead will come in here and lay in right on top of that. Right there. It should flow out to right about the middle part of that weld, and it'll flow up on that metal, and we'll get a good nice bite on that angle iron. Come out to here, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll take this 4 bead cap and we'll carry it right on around, right around through here. Now remember, all this is with a $400 weld machine, 120 volt weld machine that we ran off a generator. No gas required. And here's that last cap. Right there. It could have been a little bit wider. Didn't quite come out to the center of the weld like what I said it would, but it's good enough. And it's got a nice bite on that angle iron. Yeah, it could have been a little wider. It needed to be a little wider. But then we're going to take this 4 bead cap, and then we're going to continue it right on around this way. And then we'll be done for right here. Then we'll work on the rest of these. And here's the 4 bead cap. See, we came right around to here, there, and then brought it all the way around, buffing between every weld. Remember, this was done with a 120 volt welding machine. Once you get welding down, you do not need an expensive welding to do little stuff like this. For you people who are going to point out, I've got some cold roll right there on it. It's where the start wasn't hot enough. And what you do is you start, back up a little bit, get your puddle, and then go. That right there is where the weld it rolled. I call it a cold roll. Where the puddle was cold and it rolled, and that is not tied in good. But it's not a problem. I mean, it's not a problem. It's not going to break there. Weld's not going to break there. It's going to break up here. If this happens again, if it breaks again, then we're just going to have to come in and replace this whole piece right here. Cut that off with a cutting torch. Put another piece of angle iron in there. Come all the way down to the bottom and start over. I think the job's pretty much finished, except for putting a coat of paint on it. So that y'all remember how it looked. Ground all that old weld off, back down to try to get it to base metal, then stack the beads up until we got a nice bite. I don't know, this will be the last time I'm going to be able to weld this. If we hit a limb or a tree or something that breaks, because all that's really, I mean, we got a lot of weld down here in the base metal, and really all that is just get up here to this last bead. The only thing really holding the brush guard on is that very last bead right there. Alright, and went through and put some little tacks here. That one there is not tied in. So notice how we got a little porosity here. There. That's from that contamination. That bulge right there. Right there. That's from paint and rust and stuff being on the base metal and on this perforated material and contaminating the weld. That one there was not. I put kind of 2 more beads on that. Hopefully that'll hold good. Alright, guys and gals. There we go. Welding around the form. Little 120 volt. Flux core welding machine, no big deal. Just some time, patience, understanding, clean base material, keep your welds clean, and I will talk to y'all later.